morning everyone. My name is Dalit Soni and I welcome you all in this new episode of In Focus series by Drishti IAS. So in this particular episode, we'll be talking about a particular dietary habit that is called intermittent fasting. You must have heard about it because it has been quite trendy among the youth recent days. So when we are talking about this particular practice, that is intermittent fasting, there has been a new study which is saying that it can be harmful for your body too. We will see what are the existing studies are, what experts are saying about this particular report, and then we'll come to a conclusion. So let's start. Before moving ahead, we will see the outline, or you can say point of focus in our discussion. So we'll first talk about the news. As I told you, there is a new study, so we'll be talking about that, and then what is intermittent fasting. We'll look at the definition, or you can say that what particular this dietary habit is talking about. Okay, afterwards we'll go for the recent study on the intermittent fasting which we are right now talking about. Then why can intermittent fasting be harmful? We will see why this report is saying that it can be harmful. Afterwards, on this particular report, we'll see some experts' view, and then existing studies we will also look into what existing studies are talking about, and then who should do it and who should not, and how, if one is trying to practice this particular habit, then how should it be done. Okay, and afterwards in the end there will be a prelims MCQ for your practice. So let's start. But before that, I would like to announce you that on the occasion of Holi, Drishti IAS has come up with certain discounts on our online live course, that is IAS GS Foundation course, on which we are providing you a discount of 40% from 21st of March, that is today, till 24th of March. So there are EMI facilities also available on the discounted price. So you can directly go and click on the link which is given in the description, or you can call on this number, that is 8010440440. Okay. Other than that, we are also providing a discount up to 50% on our online courses, pen drive courses, test series, books and DLP programs. Okay. So similarly, dates are same from 21st to 24. You can go and avail this offer. You can click on the link which is given in the description, or call on this particular number, that is 8010440440. So coming to today's discussion, here we can see that can intermittent fasting worsen heart health, or what a new study says. We'll talk about that. Findings from the study were presented recently in an international conference. It is not a paper or something, it is some findings of the studies which has been presented in a international conference. Okay, now let's see. News says that while intermittent fasting has grown popularity, especially with the promise of improved insulin sensitivity among diabetics, and a recent study has made alarming claims, it increased the risk of death due to cardiovascular deaths by 91%. So they are saying that the recent study is saying that despite the popularity and the other studies which were already existent, okay, this study says that because of the intermittent fasting, there is a risk of cardiovascular diseases, or you can say the diseases which are related with your heart. Okay, so basically there is a risk which is increased by 91%. Okay, so that is the study. Now let's see in detail what is intermittent fasting. Okay, so in simple terms, you can say in a day there are certain windows where you can eat, there are certain windows where you cannot. And when we are talking about intermittent fasting, most of the day you will not eat, and there will be a window of around 8 hours where you can eat. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so for an example, before 12 p.m. in the night, so you have fasting window where you will not eat anything. So when you have this fasting window, okay, so you can take water, you can take any kind of beverages which are not including any sugar or milk. Okay, then there comes a window of 8 hours from 12 to 8 p.m. In the window of 8 hours, you can go and eat anything you want, but the suggestions are that you should go for the healthy eating. Okay, so if you are going for eating burgers and pizza at that particular window, that will not give you desired result. So here there are certain hours, or you can say nearly 8 hours of window, which is called eating window, wherein you can eat certain things. Okay, or you can say you can have your meals at that particular point of time. Okay, and then there is after 8 p.m. till your 12 p.m. next day, there is a fasting window where you will not be eating anything. So but the thing is, here you are saying that before 8 p.m. or when you are getting up in the morning, afterwards you can go for some beverages, but without sugar and without milk. Okay, so ultimately from 8 p.m. in the evening till the next time, you can say 12 p.m. next day, you are not going to eat anything. Okay, this timing can vary, but the idea is that there is a eating window of 8 hours. Other than that, you will not be eating. Okay, so here coming to this particular definition, here you can say intermittent fasting is essentially a time restricted diet. Okay, because we are basing it on the time, or you can say hourly manner, wherein for particular hours you can eat and afterwards you cannot, where days calories requirement are consumed over a period of 8 to 12 hours with participants fasting for the rest of the day. So basically this window can be different for different people. From 8 to 12 hours you can eat and afterwards you cannot eat for the rest of the day. Okay, so that is what intermittent fasting is. Now there is one term, that is days calorie requirement. So whatever energy your body would require, or the calorie requirement for the body would be, that would be taken in a certain period, that is your 8 to 12 hour of window, that is we are calling it as eating window. Okay, and the rest of the time we are calling it fasting window. Okay, so I guess this is clear. This is a simple you can say concept wherein you are eating for a certain time, that is 8 to 12 hours, and afterwards we are not eating anything, that is a fasting window. Okay, now coming to the recent study. So what this study is saying, the data presented recently tried to look at the long term impact of the intermittent fasting among 20,000 adults from USA, and the range of the, you can say, survey made, or you can say the time they have targeted. Here we are going for the long term impact. So here they have seen it for like 8 to 17 years. Okay, so for a long term they have studied the data and now they are coming with the report. If it found that the people who ate all their food in less than 8 hours per day have 91% higher risk of death due to cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so they are saying that if you are observing intermittent fasting, there are high chances that you will be dying from the cardiovascular disease, because risk is nearly around 91%. Okay, so these are very high probabilities. Then among the people already living with the heart diseases, or intermittent fasting increase the risk of death due to this particular heart diseases or cardiovascular strokes, that is nearly 66%. If you are already with this disease, then there are chances that you might be dying because of the intermittent fasting. But again, when we are talking about this data, so there are certain, you can say, speculations which has been made. So now coming to the next part, why can intermittent fasting be harmful? Okay, so why they are saying that? So we will see the calorie dense food. So as I told you, the calorie requirement of the day will be taken in a window of 8 to 12 hours. Okay, so these 8 to 12 hours when you are eating, there is a habit of people, when you are opening your fast, or you are getting out of that particular window of fasting and you are entering into the eating window, there are high chances that you will be eating anything. You will think that now I have fasted for 12 hours, I can eat anything. In that regard, if you are going for eating any kind of calorie dense food, or you can say calorie rich food like pizzas, burgers, or any kind of junk you are eating, that can be harmful. Okay, so because the thing is, when your body is not eating anything for a long while, now suddenly if you are going for the calorie rich food, then the amount of insulin generated in the body, that will shoot up. Okay, or the amount of sugar, obviously when we are going for the metabolism of a body or the digestion process, there is certain process, so insulin releases when you eat food. Okay, so because of which there will be a spike in the insulin. Okay, so it is saying that the variation in the insulin can cause certain problems. Okay, now consuming calorie dense food for only 8 hours a day is no healthier than eating it throughout the day. So obviously now what you are doing is that you are not eating for 8 to 12 hours, and then you are eating for 8 to 12 hours only junk food. So that will not give you any kind of results. Okay, also we have seen that the diets that restricts calorie in every meal leads to just as much weight loss. Okay, so you are not going for any kind of intermittent fasting, but you are going for the dieting. The term dieting is used when you are focusing on the calories, you are taking a low calorie intake. Okay, so that will also give you a result of weight loss. Okay, which intermittent fasting is given. Intermittent fasting in the long run might lead to seesaw effect on the, and not, which is not ideal for the healthy heart. Okay, so seesaw effect on the heart. So basically, as I told you, when you are not eating anything, your insulins are like this, and then suddenly you will be eating something, then insulin go shoot up, then again you are not eating anything, it will flatten, then again. So these variation in the hour, because obviously for the 8 hours you won't be eating. So after like let's say this is the window of 12 hours where you have gone for the intermittent fasting, and suddenly in the next 1 hour you are eating and the insulin goes high. Okay, so these variation, the seesaw effect is basically harmful for your body. Okay, because obviously this pressure would be in that next 4-5 hours, the pressure would be on the body to digest that particular food, and for next 12 hours you will not be eating anything. So that will be detrimental for your health. Now every time you consume a meal, there is a spike in the sugar level. Okay, sugar levels, there will be a spike. People with flatter line of insulin releases, insulin release have better cardiovascular outcomes than those with the variable lines. So basically when we are going for this intermittent fasting, this line of you can say insulin intake would be actually varying. So that is why we are saying that if this line is flattened, or you can say a steady line is there, that would be good for your health, and the variation in the insulin you can say release would not be very much advisable, or would not be very much good for your health. Now because of these certain reasons, because of the variations in the insulin release, there are high chances that you might go for the cardiovascular diseases, etc. Okay, so that is why it is said in this particular studies, it is said that these intermittent fasting can be harmful. Now what experts are saying on this? Experts are saying that the data which has been released in this particular conference, they are not peer reviewed yet. Okay, so whenever there is a paper which is to be published, or which is to have some kind of significance, there is a peer review. The so that peer review is not yet done, so this data might not be very much reliable. First thing that. Second thing is methodology is not clear. To come to the conclusion that intermittent fasting is harmful, they have gone for some data, and that data and the methodology to collect the data is not very clear. Okay, so that is also a cause of concern. Then dependence on the questionnaire. Okay, so you have asked questions to on the basis of the dietary patterns. Okay, so most of the time it is seen that people might not remember for a long time what they have eaten. So that can be also a problem if you have only if you have come to the conclusion only based on the questionnaire. Okay, so the problem with the food recall is pretty bad. Most of the people can't tell you what they have ate, or when they have done that just a few days ago. Okay, if you ask someone that what you have had in the dinner like 3 days back, that person might not be able to tell you in a first response. Or okay, so that is why the dependency on the questionnaire, on the basis of which they have collected the data, that is not very reliable. Okay, now they did not take into account if the participant had the diabetics. Okay, second thing is whether they are on any kind of drug for managing the diabetes, then whether they were on any kind of cardio protective medicines. Okay, and whether they were following a good diet or exercise schedule or not. Okay, so there are certain things, because you have based your data only on the questionnaire that is to determine dietary patterns, but you have not asked these important questions. Okay, so these important questions can also be important in there might be a change in the conclusion if you would have asked these particular questions as well. So that is why these experts are saying that this study is not yet reliable, but we are waiting for the this study to get peer reviewed. Now what existing studies are talking about the intermittent fasting? Obviously this is a study which is based on a long term observation, but right now we have short term observations. Okay, so that is one part of the recent study, that is it is a long term study. But right now when we are talking about the existing studies, most of the studies in the public domain are short term studies. So short term studies means that they have only gone for the short term impact observations. So here we see the study that tracked participants on such diet for short periods, 3 months to a year, have shown some benefits such as weight loss, better control of diabetes, then help in burning fat, triggers essential cellular functions, improve metabolism, improves gut health, improves insulin sensitivity, then reduce blood glucose level, improve autophagy. Autophagy is a term which can be important for you. It is a process by which the body removes damaged cell components. Okay, So autophagy is a process wherein the damaged cell components are removed from the body. Okay, so that is why it is also an important process which help in the conditions such as cancer. So if there is a damaged cell, or if there is a cell which is of no use, such cell will be discarded out of the body using the this process, that is autophagy. Okay, so intermittent fasting is helping in all these aspects. So the short term studies suggest that intermittent fasting is basically helpful. Okay, but the long term study or the recent study is saying that it can be harmful for your heart related aspects. Okay, now coming to the next part, people may lose more weight by intermittent fasting when compared with the normal eating. Obviously, in the normal eating, you are eating anything throughout the day, but the thing is, in the intermittent fasting, you are going for a particular window, and the rest of the time your body is not in the digestion mode. Okay, so that can be one thing. Other than that, we have seen that intermittent fasting has some benefits in the previous slide. Okay, so over 3 months, but not when compared with the energy restriction diets. So when we are talking about the energy restriction dieting, or you can say simply you use it as dieting. Okay, wherein you are going for the lesser intake of the calories. Obviously, if you are going for the lesser intake of the calories, that calorie will be utilized in the formation of energy for day-to-day functioning. So there won't be any kind of fat accumulation. Okay, but both these processes can only work up to a year, or you can say 9 to 12 months only. Afterwards, you will see that there won't be any reduction in the body fat. Okay, because obviously whatever excess fat has been there in the body, that has been removed. So the thing is, these methods are not very effective after, you can say, 12 months. So the diet also did not lead to any more weight loss over the longer period up to you can say 12 months. Now dropout rates are high because going for intermittent fasting or any kind of dietary process is not that easier. Okay, because you require a certain amount of determination, and you can say you have to put yourself under discipline, restrictions, etc. So there are you can say that studies saying that dropout rates are more. There are no long-term studies to show that the impact of the intermittent fasting on ailments like diabetes, hypertension, and the cardiovascular diseases. Okay, so as I told you, these studies are short-term, and we do not have any long-term studies on the impact of intermittent fasting on cardiovascular diseases, or you can say hypertension, etc. Okay, so we cannot come on any kind of conclusion as of now. Okay, now moving further, who should do it and how? Now, as I told you, we cannot come to a conclusion, but the thing is, for the logical thing we can think about, that there are certain classes of people or certain classes of population which require high calories. Okay, let's say if there is a youth. Okay, so youngsters under the age of 25, a person who is under the age of 25, he will have excess energy, he will require excess energy in that particular time of that era, or you can say in that particular age, he will require extra energy. So if he requires extra energy, he requires extra calories. Okay, and for that he should not go for intermittent fasting. Second thing is a class of person, or you can say pregnant woman, they also require extra energy in the body, they also require extra calories in the body, so they should not go for any kind of intermittent fasting. Okay, that is one thing. Other than that, when we are talking about, neither should be the person who has long term diabetic. Okay, any person who is observing long term diabetes, or you can say any kind of disease related to diabetics, so these persons should not go for intermittent fasting, because this will directly impact the insulin release. Okay, so that is why that is not advisable. Okay, other than that, now people with heart diseases, the people with heart diseases should not go for intermittent fasting. So these are the category of the people who should not go for the intermittent fasting. Now if you are going for it, then you should consult a doctor. Okay, other than that, if you are going for intermittent fasting, there is a circadian rhythm, or you can say there is a circadian clock. So when we are talking about this particular clock, or you can say biological clock, circadian clock or biological clock. So biological clock or circadian clock means that a body has its own timing of functioning. Okay, and for particular time you should give it a break as well. So when we are talking about this particular clock, you should work on the basis of this clock only. Okay, so if you are going for the intermittent fasting also, then also you cannot go for the later night eating windows. Okay, so in the diagram which we have seen earlier, we have seen that there is a eating window from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. Okay, you in that particular window you can eat, but then later than that you should not go for eating. Okay, so if you are doing it, the method is that you have to follow the circadian rhythm, you have to follow the biological clock, and then later nights you should not go for any kind of eating habits, or eating window should not be pushed later than this particular time which is advisable. Okay, so these are certain things which can be observed while you are going for the intermittent fasting. And if you have any kind of disease that is related to diabetics, or you can say heart diseases, then you should get advice from your doctor as well. Okay, with that we will move to the practice question for your prelims. Which of the following is true about intermittent fasting? Options are: A, it requires complete fasting for consecutive days; B, it involves restricting food intake to specific time periods; C, it increases calorie based eating without any restriction; D, it is only effective for weight loss. Okay, so you have to choose the correct option, or you can say statement which is true. You can attempt this question and answer in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe the channel to get more updates, and you can click the bell icon as well. So thank you. I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.